This video contains major spoilers for Metroid Dread. Well, there you are just enjoying a Metroid game. You probably just fought a boss, maybe you even just took down the final boss. And then you see it. The timer. It's counting down to your inevitable ruin. It has begun. The escape sequence. I'm Ouroboros. Let's talk. I love escape sequences in games. They're some of the most high-stakes, energy-filled moments in gaming, and they really serve a multitude of purposes. Let's start with Metroid Prime. For starters, the opening of Prime is just superb, even without the legendary opening escape sequence. It takes you through such a range of emotions, even within the limited context of the frigate pseudo-tutorial. Retro Studios was more than happy to let you creep along at your own pace to start things off. After all, this was Samus's first foray into the third dimension. It was creepy and mysterious. All of the space pirates were either dead or barely clinging to life after, well, something happened. You slowly work your way through the ruined research ship and, of course, face off against the notorious Parasite Queen. You slay her and she crashes into the reactor, the music becomes frantic, and within 20 minutes, you are thrust into a cacophony of warning messages, beeps, flashing lights. A timer appears at the bottom. You thought this was your safe space to just test the game. You've just gotten used to controls and now you need to move with a purpose. You're not retreading old ground either. You must utilize the skills and mechanics you literally just learned about to navigate an exploding ship. You even manage to encounter Ridley on the way out as you grapple beam yourself across a chasm. There's never really a moment to breathe. The game forces you into this crazy life or death situation and you either adapt and improvise on the fly, or you die. The only moment of temporary relief is stained when you are tossed into a wall and lose all of your upgrades. You had just learned how to control Samus, and now everything has been taken away from you. So you've gotten a bit of a break from the action, but it's still not a mental break. Morph Ball, missiles, charge beam, bombs, grapple beam, everything is gone. You can run, jump, and shoot. That's it. Your mind has been racing for the past few minutes, and now you have to cobble your way back to the ship, all the while wondering how you may deal with enemies or environmental obstacles that may pop up on the way back. In this case, Metroid Prime utilizes its escape sequences for a few main reasons. First, to cap off a fantastic opening. I really can't overstate just how incredible this section is. The build up, the boss fight, and then the escape sequence are so beautifully molded and blended together. It's really a spectacular section. Second, it serves as a test for the player. This is nothing new, in fact, most games use their escapes for this reason. However, since this one comes at the beginning of the game, it's less about how well you can interact with all of the game's mechanics, and more about your navigational skills and basic understanding of Samus's movement. Third, and this is the one that's more important for a Metroidvania game, is to simultaneously empower and disempower the player. You feel amazing during the first half of the escape prior to losing your upgrades. The space pirates are weakened, they're barely alive, and you, the walking nuclear bomb that is Samus Aran, can cut through them like a hot knife through butter. It's a power fantasy, one that's typically reserved for the end of an adventure. However, once you lose those upgrades, you feel so powerless. At the same time, it's motivating. You know what you were once capable of, even with your limited experience with the game and the upgrades. That serves as your foundation and bouncing off point. It springboards you into the meat and potatoes of the game on the surface of Talon 4. So that's one Metroid game down, but how about another? Metroid Dread takes the exact opposite approach to an escape sequence. Instead of being at the beginning of the game, it's at the end. The escape from ZDR is at the end of a grueling multi-stage fight against Ravenbeak. While Prime eased you into its timer-induced anxiety, Dread feels more cathartic. Ravenbeak, at least for me, was by far the hardest boss in the game. He's a fantastic antagonist who bested you in the beginning, and has kept tabs on you ever since. So you know climbing up to him that it's going to be a unique fight, especially since he fights with the same technology that Samus does. After defeating him, Samus goes full apeshit and even annihilates the monstrous amalgamation of Ravenbeak and the X-Parasite. The countdown begins in classic Metroid fashion, and you begin moving, only to realize that, oh god, it's huge! Yeah, this is a crazy power fantasy. At the end of most Metroid games, you're basically unkillable anyway, but here it's actually absurd. You're also retreading old territory. I mean, the entire planet is burning to the ground, but it's still areas that you've seen before. And this makes it feel like the game is coming full circle. You're beefed up, returning to the same ship that once brought you to the surface of this strange world. But this time, with even more firepower. Definitely enough to take out Ravenbeak this time. Except, you know, he's dead. It's rewarding to feel like you're taking advantage of this new Metroid Samus power-up, even if it's only for a short time. One of the things I really appreciate about Mercury Steam is that they go out of their way to include extra little goodies for people who are really good at the game, like the bomb skip for Kraid. In the escape sequence, they add in small little Shinespark cutscenes for those who are able to maintain their momentum with the speed booster during this section. They've also got some amazing speed booster puzzles, but that's a video for another day. Where Metroid Prime used its escape sequence for encouragement to further explore the game, Metroid Dread uses it as a celebration of its game. It's a send-off, a last hurrah for those of us who are able to partake in this wonderful adventure. Of course, these aren't the only two ways to escape in games. I really like the ones that show up in the Ori games that serve more as a test of your mastery of the game's mechanics and are a legitimate platforming gauntlet. But I feel like those deserve their own dedicated video. I feel like most of Metroid's escapes are going to share a lot of similarities with these two examples. Metroid has really embraced this concept since the series first debuted all the way back in 1986, which is really crazy to think about that they've been doing this for this long, and I think the timed nature is also indicative of the entire series. We often get clear times presented to us at the end of a playthrough, and speedrunning and sequence breaking is as synonymous with the series as the titular parasite. I guess if you think about it that way, the entire game is an escape sequence. You're rushing to escape a labyrinthian alien maze, and the timer is reflective of your own skill. But I digress. I really love escape sequences. It doesn't matter the game, but the spectacle of Metroid's escapes never fails to get my blood pumping and put a smile on my face. Thanks for watching.